So Alexa Grasso will be taking on Valentina Shevchenko this Saturday night at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. And oh my gosh, guys, very, very excited for this rematch. You know, I haven't said that about a lot of women's fights in recent years, but this one is definitely a rematch I'm looking forward to. Last time out, Alexa Grasso pulled off the upset and beat the reigning longtime champion, Valentina Shevchenko. And yeah, let's get into it today and talk about it. I'm Ringside Joe, and you're with Undisputed Fight Media. So, overall, the card is it's going to be a Mexican Independence Day card. You know, many Mexican and Mexican-American fighters on the card, with, of course, the queen headlining Alexa Grasso. So let me get into the previous fight that these two had last time. These two last met in, let me see, I believe it was March of last year on the John Jones Gone card. Yeah, March 4th, 2003, UFC 185, yes. Going into that fight, not a lot of people were giving Alexa Grasso a chance to win the fight. In fact, I think the talking point of that prior to that fight was that Erin Blanchfield was going to be the one to step in and beat and dethrone Valentina Shevchenko. A lot of people respected Grasso's skills, but I don't think really there was anyone out there that was expecting Grasso to go out there and beat Shevchenko the way she did. I mean, I think I've heard a lot of people in recent times talk about the fight and just say that Valentina made one mistake and that really is what cost her the fight. I don't see that as true. I just rewatched the fight, and I'll have to be honest. I thought Alexa Grasso did a lot better than I initially thought when I first watched the fight. The first round, she easily won, landed the better shots. She forced Shevchenko to become a wrestler, which is not really Shevchenko's game. Shevchenko's game is to be on the outside, be a counter striker, throw amazing kicks. And yeah, Grasso just had a plan. I thought, the better outside fighter and the better boxer in there. She really forced Shevchenko to focus heavy on the wrestling, trying to take her down constantly. And to Shevchenko's credit, she was able to get a good amount of takedowns on Grasso. Grasso definitely needs to sharpen the takedown defense and the wrestling overall going into this rematch. But the thing that turned the whole fight upside down was that spinning kick that Valentina threw, leaving her back exposed. Alexa Grasso jumped right on it, knew exactly what to do, locked in the hooks, and she got the fourth round submission due to not rear naked choke. It actually on here has as a face crank. Either way, Shevchenko tapped to that, and yeah, seeing footage of Grasso in the lead up to that fight, she actually was drilling that move a lot. Like, I could feel like Grasso really took the time to study Shevchenko, and being in there with her before, I think she knows what to expect this time from Valentina. Will Valentina try to rely heavily on the wrestling as she was having success from that in the first fight? Possibility of that, but I think Alexa Grasso will have a better idea of like what Valentina will do going into the fight. Like I said, I thought Grasso won the first round in their fight. I thought the third round was pretty close up until Valentina scored a couple of takedowns. But Alexa was in there in her face the whole entire time. She was hitting her with good shots, pumping her with the jab. And yeah, Grasso, what more can I say? Really, really exceeded a lot of fans' expectations. Going into this fight, though, I do think it'll be a little bit trickier than the first time. I think Shevchenko knows what Grasso is going to do, or has an idea what Grasso is going to do. You know, Grasso didn't really engage much in the wrestling. She, I think, tried to go for a takedown at one point, but just had Valentina up against the cage. Wasn't able to do a lot from that position. But I think Grasso will be able to go in there, mix some things in, and yeah, I'm out of the impression right now that I think Alexa Grasso is the rising fighter. Shevchenko, massive respect to her. She's been a champion for so long. I'm just going back to see all of her title defenses. Yeah, she had defended the title how many times? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 title defenses. No other women, aside from Amanda Nunes, has been this dominant in the women's divisions. Really, Valentina Shevchenko is a credit to the sport, and I have been a fan of her for a very long time. But, you know, it's the tale of two careers. You know, can the former champ have one last night at greatness, or is it the time for the rising up-and-coming contender, Alexa Grasso? We'll see. Very excited about this fight. Really looking forward to it. I am honestly, at this moment in time, I think I am going to be taking Alexa Grasso to go in there and pull the upset off again. It's crazy to me to think that she may be an underdog in this fight. In fact, yeah, let's just go to the odds makers and see what they got her at. Alexa Grasso versus Shevchenko 2 odds. Let's see what we are looking at. Yeah, so according to Google right now, Grasso is the underdog, a lot smaller than the first time. Yeah, right, odds makers. But yeah, we have Grasso at a plus 140 dog. I'm not going to lie, after rewatching that first fight, I'm very much tempted to take those odds, honestly. I think Grasso has a very good chance to go in there and beat Valentina again. So we'll see what happens. It's a really, really good fight. And overall, the rest of the card is not too bad. I'm not going to speak too much about every fight on the card, but some other guys I do want to give shine to on the card are, one of them being actually one of my favorite fighters to watch. Here we go. Kevin Holland taking on Jack Della Maddalena. Now, I think fans are familiar with Kevin Holland, what he brings, his character outside the ring and all that. And Kevin Holland is a pretty good fighter in his own right. Has been on the end of some hard losses. But here, if we look at this, the Wonder Boy loss, that was legit. The Chimaev submission loss in the first round, we all know what the deal was going into that fight. Holland, not ideal preparation, really took the fight on 1 day's notice after having an opponent switch. Not the ideal fight for Kevin Holland, so I'm not going to look too much into that. Marvin Vettori Brunson, but recently he's been on some good forms. He KO'd Santiago Ponzinibbio, who has seen better days, I'll say that. And Michael Chiesa, again, someone who has seen better days, but someone who I thought had a style to give Holland problems, and Holland was easily able to go in there, beat him, and even get the submission over Chiesa, which I thought was very impressive. So the type of fight I envisioned this fight being is a stand-up fight. I don't really think either of these guys are going to engage much in the wrestling. Jack Della Maddalena is primarily a boxer. He's got insanely good boxing skills, really sharp punches, good power on the feet. He's just a very all-around good stand-up fighter. He does have a bit of a wrestling game and a submission game. We saw bits of that in the Randy Brown fight when he was able to drop him, jumped on the back, and go for that submission. But in his last fight against this guy, Basile Hafez, he did look a little bit more vulnerable than we've seen in recent years from Jack Della Maddalena. I'm not going to lie. That fight was close. I do think he pulled through it based on the damage, but Hafez was able to get him down, hold him there at times. Jack really kind of looked lost at times in confusion, but I don't want to look too much into this fight because Jack did take this fight. Jack was actually supposed to fight the week prior, had one opponent fall out, got another opponent. Some medical issues came up. That opponent had to drop the day before the fight. And luckily, the UFC was able to keep Jack in town and give him another fight with this Hafez guy. And again, it wasn't the ideal preparation. He did have to cut weight down to 172 times in the span of a week. So that may have maybe led to a flat performance for him. But overall, Jack Della Maddalena is a very, very exciting fighter. He's 27 years old. He's only going to get better. He's, like I said, great boxing, great finishing skills, has 11 KOs, 2 submissions. He's a finisher. This guy is a finisher, and I'm really excited to see his progression and where he can go. I think Jack Della Maddalena is the truth. Do I think he's going to beat everybody in his weight class? That remains to be seen, but I'll tell you what, Jack Della Maddalena will give anyone in that weight class a run for their money, and I'll put my life on that one. I'm serious. I'm a big supporter of Jack Della Maddalena. I love this fight. Really excited to see it. I think it's going to be the second most exciting fight on the card aside from the main event. And yeah, just take a little brief look at the card, see if anyone else on here notable. Raul Rosas Jr. in a comeback fight after his loss. That's a pretty good scrap. One fight on here I was really looking forward to, Chris Curtis and Anthony Hernandez. That fight seemingly has been canceled. I think Chris Curtis picked up an injury. So there's a couple decent other scraps on here. Kopylov, Josh Frem. That's actually should be a pretty good fight. I mean, yeah, no, I'm definitely a fan of Kopylov, so I'll be watching that one as well. But overall, the main event and the co-main events are definitely what I'm going to be having my eye on this weekend. Will the champ be able to defend her belt? Will the former champ be able to get it back? We'll see. We'll see. All remains to be seen. But I think we have a very exciting weekend of fighting on our hands. And it's Mexican Independence Day weekend, so you know the Mexicans are going to turn out and blow the roof off the T-Mobile Arena. So looking forward to seeing what we have in store this coming Saturday. I guess we'll leave it at that. Thank you guys for listening. I'm Undisputed Fight Media. I'm Ringside Joe. And yeah, please like and subscribe. Thank you guys.